Hello, I'm Jayme Lynn McIntyre. I'm a proud 57-year-old transgender woman, and I came out recently in 2015 to my family and my friends and the rest of society. I've paid a high price for coming out to be my true self after decades of hiding out of shame, fear, and guilt. That is why I would like to hope to start a dialogue, a little discussion, if you will, about what it means to be transgender in this day and age, 2018, the past, and hopefully what we can look forward to for the future. This is a very important time. For far too long, most of us, transgender men and women and children, that's right, children, we've lived with shame, fear, and guilt. There's been a high rate of suicide and attempted suicides in our community. We have the highest in the LGBTQ community. I would like to address some of the concerns. I'd like to start a dialogue with some of the public, maybe to dispel some misconceived notions that people have had over the years. A lot of the entertainment industry has used us repeatedly, time and time again, as a joke, or as the crazy, misguided individual. And those are simply not true. The far right have used and continue to use us to scare children and families about the dangers of one of us might be in the bathroom stall next to your child. This is sad. This is also very, very disturbing. There's also a lot of preconceived notions within our own community itself, with a lot of transgender men and women falling into categories that they too have labeled themselves with, and preconceived notions that we have all adopted once or maybe twice in our lives. We need to realize that there's nothing to fear with the transgender community. We are just like you. We are your fathers, your mothers, your parents, sons, daughters, uncles, cousins, grandparents. We sit next to you in church. We shop right in the same grocery stores that you do. We go to the malls. We might be at the table next to you when you're dining out. We're at the ball games that all of our children are participating in with their after-school sports. And we also serve this country in the military. We put our lives on the line just as you do. And yet, we are not even allowed to go to the bathroom of our choice, excuse me, that we identify as, without repercussions. It's a shame. It seems that there's only one time of the year that we're allowed to be somewhat accepted, and that's Halloween, and that's totally inexcusable. We are not even allowed to be treated like a second-class citizen in our own country. Please, I hope that we can start a dialogue, a question and answer period, possibly pertaining to the problems that societal ills. Forgive me if I seem a little nervous right now. I'm recovering from one of those bad colds. But I would like to discuss the high suicide rate, the problems that we feel that we face in our transition period from male to female or female to male, the problems of our families. Do you know that usually when you decide to transition, if you have your family, if you're a parent, more than likely you stand to lose not just your wife or your husband, but your family as well. A lot of times your children won't accept you, maybe out of confusion, out of fear, maybe out of hate. Preconceived notions, that's what I'm talking about. We have to dispel all of the ideas and the fears that seem to be thrown upon us, our community. Not just by the cis community, meaning men and women that are straight, that are biologically male and female from birth, but we also have ideals that are thrust upon us by our own community, the LGBTQ community. There are a lot of the LGB community that do not seem to accept this as well, as if we're the ones that are jumping on their bandwagon, when in essence, we started the bandwagon for everybody, Nobody was left out. We started this bandwagon back in Stonewall, back in the 60s. If I get a little emotional, it's because there's a big price that we end up paying when we do transition. A lot of us, even though we know that we're going to lose our loved ones, our families, our identity, our jobs, everything, we do it. We go ahead with full knowledge of what lay ahead. The heartbreak, the loneliness, the second guessing, the feelings of worthlessness, because it's either that or else it's death. We try to be like everybody else. We are not the boogeyman. We are not the evil child predator. We are not the bad person in the bathroom stall next to you or your child. If anything, it is we ourselves that have to fear for our lives, our safety, when we use a public restroom. We have to fear society at large. And that is a horrible thing to have to talk about and realize. I would also like to start dialogue as to how the television industry has pretty much categorized us throughout the years, throughout the decades actually. Even now, in some of our most beloved comedy shows that we have watched, such as Friends, the transphobia, the homophobia, that seems to just be blindly accepted, laughed at. Oh, it's a comedy. It's just entertainment. Well, not really. It's the subtle intentions, the subliminal messages that are thrown out there. I hope that we can start a dialogue and discuss these issues. I hope that I can bring to you the high statistics in our community of homelessness, unemployment, sheer poverty, not to mention our brothers and sisters of color that are being murdered at a high rate. Please, I hope that we can get this dialogue started. And I just wait and am excited to entertain your questions. And I will answer every single question to the best of my knowledge and my ability. I am Jayme Lynn McIntyre, and I am a proud 57-year-old transgender woman. I have paid a very high price myself. There's also the mental health aspect of the transgender community as well. A lot of characterization of gender dysphoria and the military, our leadership now, currently, President Trump, and the hateful rhetoric that's spewed from his office and from himself about the transgender community at large. We need to get this dialogue started, and I look forward to being able to bring this out and to you and get it started at the Pittsburgh Humanities Festival, if I am so honored and allowed to represent. Thank you very much, and I hope that this continues, and I'm one that's able to bring it out with you and to you. As I said before, I am Jayme Lynn McIntyre, a proud transgender woman. Thank you.